So I've been educating myself. Like the last year, I attended a lot of classes. I went to see a lot of the best educators in the country. That way I can learn a little bit from each one and bring all those things to my practice and be able to pass that on to other people.
This is the Aesthetics Growth Podcast.
Well, hey everyone, it's Bref. I'm back with another episode of the Aesthetics Growth Podcast. And today I'm really excited to welcome Eliana Lopez. And Eliana is a seasoned nurse, an aesthetic expert, founder of Naturalness Med Spa in Murrieta, California. Eliana brings over 20 years of nursing experience and a real heart of compassion, patient-centered care. And I think she brings a really unique blend of clinical precision and natural beauty that we're going to learn more about on the show today. And really, from what I've got to learn about Eliana with her story, is that it's really about passion, purpose, and creating confidence both inside and out. And Eliana, I'm delighted to welcome you to the show. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much, Brett, for having me here in the show.
Of course. Well, Eliana, I'd love to hear a little bit more just about your journey. I'm sure the audience would as well. How did things get started for you?
So I was a hospice nurse most of my life. And I was a little bit burnout. I got into management and leadership, and I always had a passion for aesthetics. I've been doing it as a side job for the past 7 years. But I think as many of us, I was afraid of starting my own business and not having that stable income. So I think that was my fear, and I didn't want to take that step even though I had all the support. So I think little by little, I started taking little steps towards what I needed to do and start my own business.
All right. Okay. Well, there's going to be a lot to unpack there, right? Because making that leap, sometimes, Eliana, that can be, some of the hardest things to do. What was it? You mentioned obviously the hospital work, but what was that inspired you to get into aesthetics and to launch Naturalness Med Spa? Love the name, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I was looking what inspired me? I had the passion for aesthetics all my life. I think we hear a lot of noise out there that there is not enough business, that is overflowed, that we're not going to make it. And I think, honestly, I have to be, I had a lot of support from friends that own med spas, and they empower me to do it. So I think that's how I took that leap of faith. My medical director had a med spa, my best friend, all of them are in the business, and they told me, no, you can do it and you're going to do it. So I think support from my community is what got me where I am right now.
Love it. So really being surrounded by, it sounds like, the right people, and you had other people that had taken a few steps ahead of you and already started their own med spas, right?
Yes.
Okay. How long did it take you from that initial, hey, I'm going to do this, to actually doing it? Was there a long time period of thinking? And because you mentioned some of the fears you had to overcome, right? I'd love to understand what that timeline was like and what that was like for you.
I don't want to scare anyone here, but once I decide to do something, I get it done. So I got everything done in 1 month.
Love it. Hey, I'm very much like you, fast action,
right.
Because listen, in life, you won't know until you take action, right?
Yeah. I told everyone that I was going to do the business, and everyone is okay. And then 1 month later, I'm I have everything, website built. I was working day and night. I had everything completed.
I love it. And I was talking to Mario Bruno a few weeks ago, similar with just burning the candle at both ends and jumping in and taking action. And that's awesome. So basically within that month, you had the digital platforms together, you had your doors. How long did it take you from that, hey, let's do it, to actually, seeing your first patient?
Probably a month and a half.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. So talk us through that. What was it like then, making that pretty quick shift in the end from the on the clinic side or on the hospital side, really, to opening your own doors? All of a sudden you're a business owner. What was that experience like for you?
Exciting, but also scary. Because you have to start hustling more. And I don't think they teach us that in nursing school or in life. No one teaches you how to go and start networking more and doing and learning how to do business, how to talk to people. So it was a lot of like, it was a learning curve.
For sure, for sure. Hey, life definitely throws lots of learning lessons at us, right? But a few things you mentioned, Eliana, I think really important for the audience to hear too. You mentioned that one word, which I think a lot of us entrepreneurs have tattooed to our soul, which is hustle, right? So, what did that look like for you? You mentioned kind of getting out there in the community. What were those first few weeks, first few months like when it came to the doors are open and you probably have some family and friends and things, but then you have to go outside of that? What was that like for you?
It was a lot of networking. I made it a purpose to like find every freaking woman's group that I found in my community. I talked to everyone in my community. Like my community is really close, so I started going to all their events, like going to fundraisers. Every event that I found for women, I was there. I supported them, um, and I got myself like to get known in the community like that.
Yep.
Mhm.
Awesome. I love it. So really the networking and that, putting yourself out there.
Mhm.
And was there any kind of any major lessons that you've learned, since opening the doors, and any big lessons that, when it came to growing the business, anything that stands out for you?
Yeah, I think at the beginning when I started, like I was afraid to price myself up there high with the other people. And I was working really cheap. And that was a big lesson. I was doing a lot of pre-treatments, like trying to get people to know me. And I realized that that wasn't good for my business. Most of that people never came back. They were just looking for a deal. So
Mm,
I think not pricing yourself so low that like it's gonna hurt your business and like and knowing your value.
I love it. Yeah, certainly. You start a business, sometimes you do what you need to do to get things moving, but understanding your value, extremely important. I
Yeah.
also like I said, the beginning of our conversation, really love the name, and I think you know through your experience and through trends, you've seen that natural look obviously is what people are looking for today. Can you share just a little bit about what that means to you and to your clients, that naturalness?
I think we're like moving away from those overfilled faces, the dog lips, and all that. We're moving more into natural results, holistic medicine, regenerative medicine. And I
Mm,
wanted to make sure that like my business brand was reflecting that, that like people could come and feel confident that I wasn't gonna do that overfilled face that looks fake. And they see my face and like, and I'm like, this is like, I explained to them I have a lot of work done and it still can look natural. So I think that was the most important part, and I think that's why my clients come. I want to make sure that I attract that clientele that is looking for natural results, that way is not looking for like that fake overfill look.
mm, for sure. And that's definitely the way that the market is going, what people are looking for. And so are there certain types of treatments that like clients are really loving what you're doing, or certain types of treatments that are really popular at your practice right now?
Always weight loss. People always love to come back for their weight loss. They leave me for a little bit and they come back. And I think like we're like moving a lot for towards like the regenerative medicine, so radius,
Mm.
exosomes, PDGF. All those treatments are coming a lot into our practice.
Right, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely seeing that trend, and it's also interesting too. With a lot of technology and innovation, sometimes there can be kind of like overhyped services as well. What would you say? Is there any from a clinical perspective, any specific treatments or services that you feel have been overhyped?
I think that salmon PDRN, I have not seen like major results from the from it.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, that's one of those treatments that I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
What's your favorite treatment to do personally yourself?
On myself,
Hmm.
oh my
Well,
gosh, I
just
love
what
it.
which one do you like personally to do the
If
most?
I could do like a laser more often, I would like be laser in my face as much as I could. I love CO2
All right.
lasers. If I could give a CO2 laser to everyone, I will do it.
It's lasers. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. There's certainly, with the laser treatments again, you're talking about that growth within laser treatments and also within that natural looks as well. What,
Yeah.
is there any sort of treatments or technologies that you're really excited about, things that you see coming down the pipeline, or any kind of innovation or new things that you're really excited about right now?
I think like one of the biggest treatments that I see that it just came up, it was that the PDGF, which is that the platelet derived growth factor. So we're using that a lot, like for like under eyes for teardrops. I think it's better than feeling in there because that tissue is so delicate, and the filler is so heavy, and sometimes people end up like having to dissolve there. So I think that's a good treatment that is coming up in everyone, and it's really good also for hair restoration.
Mm,
Mhm.
awesome. Awesome. Are there certain types of treatments or services that you're putting an emphasis on, promoting or creating more awareness for yourself at Naturalness?
I think it's more like I love to like do preventative treatments with my patients. I think like a lot of their skincare routine and making sure that
Mm,
they prevent all that damage before it happens. I love microneedling. Microneedling increases your collagen so much. It helps with scars. So I love to. I think that's like super important.
awesome. Love it. Love it. And I'm going to kind of change gears a little bit now, following on from the treatments, but, you're treating patients firsthand at your med spa, but also you're stepping into the education space as well, right? So I'd love to learn a little bit more. Like what does that mean and how's that going for you?
Education. Oh, I like that's a project that I'm working on. I really want to bring an aesthetic school to my practice. We're working really hard on getting it done, like in the next couple months. In the area where I am, I don't think there are that many educators. Everyone is like 2, 3 hours away. So I've been educating myself. Like the last year, I attended a lot of classes. I went to see a lot of the best educators in the country. That way, I can learn a little bit from each one and bring all those things to my practice and be able to pass that on to other people. And at the same time, I've been also mentoring a few of my friends that want to open their own business. So that has helped a lot.
Okay, beautiful. I love what you said there as far as the mentoring piece. Is there a certain kind of almost like gap that you've seen in the marketplace or certain gaps in training in your area that you've identified and that you're looking to help to fill by mentoring and doing more training?
Like I think the major gap. Okay, so one of them, like training is expensive. It's just and I have found myself that I have to travel all over the place to find good trainers. I think last year I went to Nashville, Ashland, Oregon. I went to Vegas. I went to Los Angeles, and so it is hard to find like a person that like can teach you and especially someone that can teach you the basis of the business because I have taken a
Mm,
lot of like filler, Botox classes, but no one taught me how to start my business.
right. That's interesting. So is that something that you're looking to kind of fill as well? Is that like that mentoring, that business aspect with
Yeah.
the injecting coaching and those sorts of things?
I would love to mentor other women and teach them that they can do it, that this is not
Mm,
impossible, and that like there is business for everyone. We don't have to compete with each other or um, attack each other. I think there is unlimited possibilities in the universe for everyone and unlimited business. And I know a lot of women out there like want to start, but like everyone is always having that negative talk that like no, you cannot do this. And I want to like stop people from doing that, and I want to like empower other, especially women, to like go for it.
I think that's beautiful, and I'd love to peel back some extra layers on that because mindset and those fears, those doubts, those stories that we people can tell ourselves can really inhibit from taking action, which
Mhm.
you do so quickly. What does that if, for anybody who's listening and with your goal to empower and to help more women to grow their businesses and to grow their med spas, what are some of the things that you might say to them to have them to break through those barriers, like you said, or to empower them to take action?
I think like the biggest thing that I can do is share my story.
Mm,
Like I I went through a really rough patch in my life, and I came out of it against like many odds. And I think like sharing my story and how I succeeded and how I did it is the major takeaway. I have been able to do it with other people. I think I have helped a lot of people along the way. And yeah, just sharing how you did it. Like there are no secrets here. Like all the information is out there, and like I said, like we don't have to compete with each other. We just have to support and empower each other and do better.
I'd love to, if you're comfortable with maybe sharing a bit more. I know there's a story to tell there that we might not have, depending on your scheduled time for today, but I think it would be great for the audience to hear about some of those struggles that you've obviously had to overcome. Would you mind taking us back a little bit to talk about that? Because I think that's obviously at the center of what you're doing, that that mission-based entrepreneurship. And what was that like for you? What kind of struggles did you have to overcome to get to the point now where you're driving a successful business?
So, Brev, I was in a really traumatic relationship, a very abusive relationship, and it was really hard to get out of it. When I left that relationship, even though I had my nursing degree and everything, I had lost everything. This was 6 years ago. I had lost my house. I had lost my car. I had to start from zero. But I had a lot of women supporting me and helping me. And I think that's why I always think like I have to give back, because no one ever told me I couldn't do it. And everyone was supporting me along the way. Everyone, I had people investing money, investing time, helping me get through everything. And I think we all can do it. I always tell my son works with me, and I'm like, if you put your mind into it, it can be done.
Yep. I agree 100%. I've got a couple of boys as well and come back from sports. I can't say you're going to be right whether you say you can or you can't. And just to bring it back to your message, I think that is so potently powerful when it comes to your drive to help women through tough, really challenging situations. You started from zero. And that itself would be enough for a lot of people to say, that's it. Like, I mean, I'm done. I'm looking for, maybe something easy or a job, or it could spiral into multiple different directions. But Eliana, that really proved to be your back was against the wall. You had nothing that really inspired you. And I'd love to understand, is that inherent in your personality where you've always had that, or what was the impetus to get you then to drive forward, to really break through from that really difficult time?
I think I've always been a very positive person, and I can get through. I have a lot of resilience, so I can get through a lot of things. But I think also I wasn't gonna be able to do it on my own this time. I really needed that extra push. I'm like, okay, we're here supporting you and cheering you up. And but then the work, I put all the work myself. I started working 2-3 jobs to put my business together. I think I worked 3 jobs to save all the money. I didn't want to be in debt. So I worked 7 days a week, in the middle of starting my business. I bought a house, started the business and did everything. But I work 7 days a week for probably 4 years.
Wow. What jobs? Is that all within all healthcare jobs? I mean,
Yeah.
working around the clock, it sounds like. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What was the point then you got to where you said, okay, now I can do it. Now I feel either comfortable or I'm ready. And then you made the leap. What was that? What did that look like for you?
I don't know how it was. I just woke up one day and I say, I'm ready. And I did it. I don't know what twisted in my head, but I was like, this is the day.
That's awesome. I know I asked that a few times. I was trying to figure out, is there a pattern for the listeners here? Is there when this, then that? But really it came down to, I'm doing it. I'm taking action. I'm doing it. I'm committed to making it work. And I don't even know if you thought about what's the worst thing that could happen? Well, it might not work out, and then you go do something else. But yeah. you were ready to go and to drive forward.
And when I started super slow. I didn't go in with big equipment, big office. I started just with the basics: weight loss, Botox, fillers. There was nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And I was microneedling. My investment was really small, and I saw that was doing really well. And then I'm like, okay, now I can move to a bigger office. I can buy my lasers. I can invest in more training. So that made it a lot easier too. Also, before starting, I did a survey in my community. I sent a survey how many people were interested in services. I already knew a lot of them, and a lot of people replied, and they were very positive about it. So I was like, I'm going for it.
Smart. I love that. I guarantee you, not everybody who's listening to this has done that, but you had the initiative to, okay, number one, you're doing it, you're taking action. Number, two, you were smart enough to realize that, okay, there's the chance here I might overinvest. So what's going to be important? So you surveyed your community. Eliana, what was that like? Did you do handouts, or how did you get that feedback so that you could determine which services to offer?
I went into the Facebook groups and I put surveys there.
Beautiful.
I was like, let me get into all these community groups and start asking what services they're interested, if is even something that they want to do or not.
Were you surprised by the answers that you got, or is there anything yeah?
When I put the first survey, actually a lady that manages most of the community groups, she replied to me and she told me, I want to be your first client.
Awesome.
And I want to help your business. And she actually helped my business get started. She was my first client. It was a free service. And every month she will do a party with all the ladies that she knew for the first 6 months that I was working.
Excellent.
So I
Excellent.
got to meet a lot of the community because of her.
That's incredible. So for anybody listening to that, just some of the to-dos there would be, number one, put yourself out there. You were out in person, but also online in those communities. Eliana, what sort of communities? Was it neighborhood groups and things, or mom groups? What was that like?
Yeah. Yeah. Neighborhood groups,
Yep.
like mom groups, 55 plus groups. I got
Okay.
in all of them.
Wonderful. And then you had almost like one kind of influencer, right, in that space who said, I'm going to be your first client. And then she started throwing parties. How many people would come out to the events for you?
20 each time.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All
We
right.
couldn't take more than that. That was like kind of like, this is as much as I can handle. I was working alone at the beginning. So I was like, and I was injecting more people that day too, because we will do like little Botox parties. And so I was like, that's probably as much as I could handle.
Okay. Yeah. And with, certainly as you start the business by yourself, you got to be careful for how much, to scale effectively. What does that look like for you now that you've got, things are in motion, you got that momentum? What does growth look like to you from this point?
I think at this point is I have my son working with me now. He's a nurse too. And it's like making sure that our books are completely full. They're not always full, but we have progressively gotten better. We have been filling the books little by little. And I think it's just making sure that we're always busy.
And I can tell, and I know that you're doing a tremendous job with your patients, and that you've got that word of mouth that's amplifying. And that's awesome too, that your son is working for your true family business. What's working for you? What is he doing when it comes to communication or outreach? How is that continuing to help you to grow?
I think most of our business is word of mouth. I honestly, like, all of my patients are like my friends. I treat them with love. Like, we share our lives. It's like a little family here, and I think they love that. And I make sure that when they come, they know like this is a family. Like, they know about me, I know about them, and I follow up with them all the time. When I started my business, unfortunately, I gave my phone away. That was my scheduling system.
Okay.
So a lot of them text me still, and follow up, and then like they make the appointments through me, like, which is okay. But like it also helps me like keep that like little point of contact
Right.
with them.
It can get busy quick, right? The alerts can go off a lot when you give. In the beginning, you might not think it, but then after, how many clients have you got in your roster right now?
I think it's about 260.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Well, that's fantastic.
And all of my clients return. Like, I think my return rate is like about like 90%. So
that's fantastic. Any sort of like lessons learned or tips that you might share with other, I think you said a lot when you said it's, treating people like family, that experience. What I'd love to delve a little bit into that. What does that experience look like for your clients, for your patients when they're coming in, and how do you kind of deliver that service?
I think when my clients come, I'm super friendly. Like, I give hugs. Like, if they want a hug, like we go for the hug. And like being honest with them, being making sure that like you're not selling them something that they don't need. But I think like mostly than anything, like the honesty, I like to be super honest about the results, like what we can achieve, what we cannot do, what we can do. And people really appreciate that. I think a lot of my clients come back just because of that. I tell them like, yeah, this is not going to work for you, or this is going to work for you. And just also being interested in their lives and who they are, and what brought them here. I like to ask like if they have had treatments before, from whom, why they don't go back to that person anymore. And I always tell them, I want to be your person. Like, I want to get to know you and like get you to achieve the goals that you have. I don't want you to be jumping from person to person, because if I know your skin and I know you, and what you want, like, we're going to get there where you need to be.
Developing relationships, right? That's at the center of it.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Well, hey, we're going to have a little bit of fun now. We do the basically rapid fire round. So I'm going to come at you with some quick questions there to wrap things up a little bit. So are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. So here's an interesting question, right? So if you were doing what you're doing right now and you weren't growing a med spa, you're living in a totally different universe, what would Eliana Lopez be doing?
I would probably have like a farm with animals and live like in the woods.
All right. Okay. Okay. Cool. Let's conjure up some interesting images as well. What
Yeah.
type of animals? No, I'm gonna kid. We won't go down that route.
Cows.
How about cows? All right. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Everyone
Very good.
knows
I'm
it.
from
And
Ireland where we
dogs.
got
I
lots
love
of those.
dogs.
Love it. I love it. How about you mentioned you travel quite a lot and you've been to Nashville, Las Vegas, a number of different areas over the last few months. Is there a specific industry show or event that you really love going to?
Needle art.
Needle art. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Where was that event that you were at most recently?
That was in Boston last year.
Boston. All right.
Yeah.
Boston Beantown. Yeah. I have some fun memories of living there as well.
Yeah.
Eliana, how about if you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice, looking at yourself in a younger version, what do you think that would be?
My youngest version, be
if
more
you give yourself one piece of
confident and
advice.
more assertive. I think it will be like just, learn to be more confident and honestly, like learning business. I think for every single job that you do in life, even for like building relationships, you need to learn sales and you need to learn like how to do business.
Love it. Love it. Yep. Some key messages there as well. How about the best piece of advice that you've ever given anybody?
That I have given anybody. I think it's like not letting yourself fall down, like it's going for your dreams. Like you can do it. Like, yeah.
You know, as you were talking there, it kind of reminded me of when I was traveling, my wife and I years ago, we were actually traveling in South America. One of the favorite phrases I got, and so now I've taken it as a piece of advice as well, is nada segura, pero todo es posible. When nothing is possible, and when nothing is certain, anything is possible. And what you said there with, never giving up. And I think that those reminders to ourselves, anybody listening, especially growing a business where there's all kinds of stuff that can happen, I think that's so important. So thanks for sharing that too. Eliana, what's, when it comes to unwinding, after a busy week and the patients are all gone, what's some of the things that you like to do, outside of injecting and treating patients, ways that you might like to unwind?
Hiking, going to the beach, a glass of wine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing. Sounds amazing. So, Eliana, when it comes to some of the things that we discussed today, I mean, some of the notes that I've taken mentally, some of the powerful words that you use, the hustle, the resilience that you mentioned as well, and also building those relationships. I think for me, there's some of the pivotal items that you've mentioned that it's key in growing a business, but also our audience will be able to really get so much from it if they understand how to, number one, when you're growing a business, that hustle, what it takes, developing those relationships, some of the groups that you mentioned, getting out there, getting active, putting yourself out there, being confident and assertive so that you can ask those questions, develop those relationships, and really just taking action. I think it's also, incredible, and just want to recognize the work that you're doing, not only from the business standpoint, but also with your mission to help women and to empower women to take action and to never give up and to push through. I think that's absolutely tremendous. And if there's anybody who's listening that would like to connect with you or to learn more, maybe you do, maybe you don't want to give out your cell phone number this time, but what would be the best way for people to connect and to learn more about what you're doing?
So they can always access our website, naturalnessmedspa.com. Our email address is info@naturalnessmedspa.com. And my phone number, 949-439-6898. And that's my personal.
Right. All right. There it is. So when the episode drops, watch out. You might need to hire an assistant to take care of that. Eliana, it's been an absolute pleasure. Well, you got tell your son things are going to be getting busier, right?
Yeah.
How about any other words of encouragement that you would give to anybody listening as we start to wrap things up? Any other final message that you'd like to deliver?
No, I think the most important thing is like not to let anyone tell you that you cannot do it. If you have your mind into it and if you put all your effort and that's your dream, just go for it. It can be done.
Awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much. I know that your message is going to resonate with many. And again, it's been brilliant to get to meet you. So thanks so much for joining on the show today, Eliana.
Thank you so much, Brev.
This is the Aesthetics Growth Podcast.